Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something crucial, something that can silently, almost invisibly, lower your value in the eyes of a man. And these are not superficial things like the way you dress or how often you smile. These are deeper patterns, behaviors, habits that tell the story of how you see yourself and how others perceive you. When you bend over backward to please someone, compromise your boundaries, or tolerate disrespect, you send the message that you don't value yourself. And when you don't value yourself, no one else will. Self-respect is magnetic. Protect it fiercely. Needing constant validation or attention, calling or texting endlessly, or putting your life completely on hold for someone is a sure-fire way to kill your value. Independence is sexy. A man is drawn to a woman who has her own passions, goals, and life outside of him. Confidence isn't about arrogance. It's about knowing your worth without demanding anyone else prove it to you. Doubt and constant reassurance seeking can be exhausting and unattractive. Stand tall. Speak clearly. Make your presence felt without desperation. Life will test you, but overreacting, creating drama, or expecting a man to constantly soothe your emotional storms is draining. Composure, grace, and emotional intelligence elevate you instantly. Remember, your value is not measured by how much someone wants you, but by how much you value yourself. When you protect your self-respect, maintain independence, radiate confidence, and keep your emotional balance, you become someone who's not just desirable, but unforgettable. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next time you feel your value slipping, pause and ask yourself, am I staying true to these 4 principles? Because the answer to that question will change everything. Let's start with something that often gets overlooked, yet is the foundation of your entire presence: self-respect. When we talk about self-respect, we're not talking about arrogance or putting up walls to push people away. We're talking about a quiet, unwavering standard you set for yourself, a sense of dignity that radiates from the choices you make, the way you carry yourself, and how you allow others to treat you. Self-respect is the core of your value because it communicates, without a single word, that you are someone who understands her worth. A woman who lacks self-respect may find herself saying yes when she wants to say no, compromising her needs to make someone else comfortable, or tolerating behavior that doesn't align with her standards. And here's the thing, this isn't about manipulation or testing someone. It's about truth. When you bend over backward to please someone, you teach them how to treat you. Every compromise that goes against your true self chips away at your energy and subtly lowers how others perceive you. Men are not necessarily looking for perfection, but they are intuitively drawn to a woman who knows what she will and will not accept, who has clear boundaries, and who refuses to let anyone diminish her worth. Self-respect is visible in your actions. It's in the way you speak to yourself, in the way you respond when someone crosses a line, in the way you walk into a room knowing you deserve to be there. It doesn't require a loud proclamation. In fact, the most powerful self-respect is often quiet and steady. It's the woman who smiles warmly but doesn't tolerate disrespect, who can disagree without fear, who can say no without guilt. On the other hand, lacking self-respect often shows up as people-pleasing, excessive apologies, over-accommodating, or giving more than you are willing to give just to be liked. The problem with this pattern is not only that it drains your energy, but it also subtly signals that your value is dependent on external approval rather than internal certainty. Another critical aspect of self-respect is recognizing your emotional and physical boundaries. It's understanding that saying yes to something you don't want to do, or tolerating behavior that makes you uncomfortable, doesn't make you nice or loving. It makes you less aligned with your true worth. When a woman consistently sacrifices her own needs to meet someone else's, she unconsciously shifts the balance of power away from herself. Men, whether consciously or subconsciously, pick up on that imbalance. The energy changes. Suddenly, instead of being someone magnetic and strong, you may appear desperate or easily swayed. Self-respect, on the other hand, creates an invisible aura of strength. It says, I am whole, I am enough, and I will not compromise my dignity for temporary approval or attention. Importantly, self-respect isn't static. It's not something you either have or don't have. It's a practice, a series of daily choices. Every time you speak your truth, every time you hold a boundary without guilt, every time you refuse to diminish yourself to fit someone else's narrative, you reinforce it. You are essentially telling the universe and yourself that your value is inherent, unwavering, and non-negotiable. And that is magnetic in ways words cannot capture. It changes the way people interact with you, the way doors open in your life, and the way men respond to your presence. It is the first, most fundamental, and most powerful step in ensuring that the respect, attention, and love you receive matches the incredible value you hold within. Let's move on to something equally important and often misunderstood: independence. When we talk about independence in the context of relationships, many people immediately think about financial independence. But it goes far beyond that. Independence is about having a full, rich life that is yours. Your passions, your goals, your friendships, your routines, and not hinging your entire happiness, identity, or sense of purpose on someone else. It's about showing up in a relationship as a complete person, not as someone looking for completion. Men, whether they realize it or not, are drawn to a woman who is independent because it signals confidence, stability, and self-sufficiency. A woman who relies on a man for her happiness or validation often communicates, even unintentionally, that she cannot thrive without him. And that, paradoxically, pushes him away. Independence isn't about shutting someone out or creating emotional distance. It's about balance. It's having a life that is fulfilling, interesting, and full of experiences, and being able to share that life with someone without needing them to fill voids or rescue you. When a woman shows that she has goals, hobbies, friendships, and ambitions that are uniquely hers, she radiates energy that is compelling, magnetic, and undeniably attractive. On the other hand, over-reliance can take many forms, constantly seeking approval, rearranging your life to accommodate his schedule at the expense of your own, or making his world the center of your universe. These patterns, even when done with love or good intentions, can create a subtle imbalance that diminishes your value in the long run. Independence also creates mystery and intrigue. When a man knows that your time, energy, and attention are valuable, he approaches the relationship with more respect and intentionality. There's a natural magnetism that comes from a woman who doesn't need him to feel whole, but chooses him because she genuinely wants to. Conversely, when a woman's life revolves entirely around a man, the dynamic shifts. He may feel pressured, smothered, or unconsciously take her for granted because the sense of autonomy, challenge, and excitement has diminished. Independence is not a barrier. It is a bridge that allows connection to flourish without dependency, creating a healthy space where love and attraction can thrive. Another crucial aspect of independence is emotional self-reliance. This means being able to process your feelings, set boundaries, and solve problems without expecting a man to constantly rescue you or soothe your insecurities. It doesn't mean you never lean on someone for support, but it does mean that your sense of stability doesn't hinge entirely on external validation. Emotional independence reinforces your value because it demonstrates that you are whole, capable, and in control of your life, which is profoundly attractive. It also encourages a relationship dynamic where both partners bring their full selves to the table, rather than one person carrying the emotional weight of the other. Independence is a practice and a mindset. It requires awareness of your patterns, understanding what gives your life meaning, and being courageous enough to prioritize yourself even when it's uncomfortable. Every time you say yes to yourself, every time you maintain your routines, hobbies, and friendships, every time you pursue your dreams without needing permission, you reinforce a sense of self that is powerful and magnetic. Men are drawn not just to confidence, but to the energy that comes from someone living fully and authentically. Independence, when practiced with grace, doesn't push people away. It elevates your presence, deepens attraction, and ensures that the love you receive is rooted in admiration and genuine desire, not necessity. Let's explore something that is often talked about, but rarely fully understood: confidence. Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room, nor is it about appearing perfect or flawless. True confidence is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in knowing your worth. It's the internal compass that allows you to stand tall even when others question you, and the magnetic energy that draws people toward you without you needing to chase attention. In relationships, confidence speaks louder than words because it communicates a clear message. You are someone who knows what you deserve, someone who doesn't settle, and someone who carries herself with dignity. Insecurity and neediness, on the other hand, are among the fastest ways to diminish your value in front of a man. They manifest in subtle ways, constantly seeking reassurance, overanalyzing his words or actions, or adjusting your behavior in an attempt to earn his approval. Every time you look to someone else to validate your worth, you send a message that your sense of value is not internal, but dependent on external circumstances. And here's the truth: people are instinctively drawn to strength, not neediness. A man may initially respond to your attention, but if he senses that your confidence is conditional, it changes the dynamic. He may feel pressure, obligation, or even lose interest, because the excitement of choice, curiosity, and admiration has been replaced by the weight of expectation. Confidence is not about perfection, it's about presence. It's about owning your story, embracing your quirks, and showing up authentically without fear of judgment. A confident woman doesn't apologize for existing or for wanting what she deserves. She expresses her opinions clearly, she sets boundaries without guilt, and she engages in relationships from a place of strength, not fear. This energy is magnetic because it reassures the other person that you are whole and secure in yourself, which creates a foundation for mutual respect and admiration. Confidence allows you to engage fully in a connection without losing yourself in it. Another key element of confidence is embracing your own agency. This means making choices that honor your needs, desires, and principles, regardless of whether others agree. It's being able to say no when something doesn't feel right, and yes when something aligns with your values. When a woman demonstrates this kind of self-assuredness, it naturally draws people toward her. It signals that she is selective, discerning, and intentional, which are qualities that men find highly attractive. Conversely, a lack of confidence often communicates desperation or uncertainty, which can trigger doubts in the other person and undermine the foundation of attraction. Confidence also impacts the way you handle rejection or challenges. A woman who is confident doesn't crumble when someone disagrees with her, chooses another path, or makes a mistake. She processes, learns, and moves forward with grace, maintaining her sense of self-worth regardless of external outcomes. This resilience is incredibly attractive because it shows that your value is not negotiable. It's inherent and unwavering. It also fosters a healthy dynamic where both partners contribute equally, rather than one person constantly seeking validation or approval. Confidence is a practice and a mindset. Every choice you make to honor yourself, every time you stand firm in your principles, every moment you engage authentically without fear of judgment, reinforces it. It's the energy you carry, the way you look at the world, and the way you allow yourself to be seen fully. Men are naturally drawn to this energy because it signals strength, clarity, and emotional maturity. Confidence is not just an attractive quality, it is the foundation of your value, the invisible magnet that makes people respect, admire, and want to be around you, and the shield that protects you from losing yourself in someone else's narrative. Let's now dive into something that is subtle but incredibly powerful: consistency. Consistency is often underestimated, yet it is one of the strongest signals of value you can project in a relationship. It's not about perfection or rigidity, it's about reliability, predictability in behavior, and integrity in the way you show up. When a woman is consistent, she communicates stability, trustworthiness, and self-assurance. A man, consciously or subconsciously, notices this. It tells him that you are someone he can rely on, someone who manages her emotions and actions with clarity, and someone whose presence doesn't feel like a roller coaster of unpredictability. On the other hand, inconsistency, being hot and cold, unpredictable, or overly reactive, can subtly erode your value and create confusion, doubt, and emotional fatigue. Consistency starts with self-awareness. It's knowing who you are, what you believe, and what you will and will not tolerate, and then showing up in alignment with that truth every day. It means your words match your actions. If you say you'll do something, you follow through. If you set a boundary, you maintain it. When there is a disconnect between what you say and what you do, It creates uncertainty in the relationship and diminishes the perception of your value. Men are instinctively drawn to women who are clear and consistent because it signals emotional intelligence, maturity, and inner stability, all qualities that create attraction and admiration. Emotional consistency is equally important. Being overly reactive, creating drama, or swinging between extremes can quickly drain the energy in a relationship. While passion and excitement are attractive, chaos and unpredictability are not. A woman who is consistent in her emotional responses communicates that she has control over her feelings, that she can navigate challenges with composure, and that she is not easily manipulated by circumstance or mood. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means processing them with awareness, expressing them thoughtfully, and ensuring they align with your overall values and standards. Emotional consistency fosters trust, respect, and a sense of security, all of which are magnetic qualities that elevate your presence. Consistency also applies to the way you invest your time, energy, and attention. It's one thing to show up for a man when it's convenient, and another entirely to show up in ways that are deliberate, intentional, and dependable. When you are consistent, your actions reinforce your words and your intentions. Men notice the effort, the reliability, and the steady energy that doesn't waver based on circumstance. This builds trust and admiration, and it allows a relationship to flourish in a healthy, balanced way. Conversely, unpredictability can cause doubt and insecurity. If your mood, attention, or availability feels inconsistent, it shifts the dynamic into one of uncertainty, where instead of feeling admiration and respect, a man may feel confusion or frustration. Finally, consistency reinforces self-respect and value. It signals that you have standards and that you honor them, not just when it's convenient, but consistently. It's a reflection of your discipline, integrity, and self-awareness. Every time you show up reliably, whether in small actions, daily habits, or meaningful commitments, you reinforce your own worth while elevating the way others perceive you. Men, like all people, are naturally drawn to energy that is steady, assured, and grounded because it creates a safe yet exciting space where attraction can grow without chaos or uncertainty. Consistency, then, is not just about actions. It's about the message those actions send, that you are a woman of integrity, clarity, and undeniable value, and that anyone who wants to be in your life must meet you at that level. Let's now focus on something that often gets overlooked, but has a huge impact on how a woman is perceived: avoiding drama. Drama doesn't just mean big fights or emotional explosions. It's the small, repeated patterns of overreaction, unnecessary tension, and emotional turbulence that can slowly erode a man's admiration and respect. Drama often stems from insecurity, fear of losing someone, or a desire for attention, and while it may feel justified in the moment, it has the unintended effect of lowering your value. Men, like anyone else, are naturally drawn to energy that feels balanced, calm, and confident. When the emotional environment around a person feels unpredictable, exhausting, or chaotic, it pushes people away rather than drawing them closer. Avoiding drama begins with self-awareness and emotional management. It's about recognizing triggers, understanding your reactions, and choosing responses that reflect your worth rather than your fear. A woman who can pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully, even when she feels hurt or disappointed, communicates strength, maturity, and composure. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means addressing challenges in a way that is constructive rather than reactive. Men notice this because it signals that you are capable of handling life and relationships with grace, which is a core element of attraction and long-term value. Drama often manifests in patterns like over-analyzing messages, creating tension out of small misunderstandings, or escalating minor disagreements into major conflicts. While it might seem like expressing your emotions openly is a way to connect, doing so without awareness can create fatigue for the other person. A man may start to feel like he's walking on eggshells, unsure how you'll respond next, or even feel manipulated by emotional highs and lows. Conversely, a woman who maintains emotional balance, communicates clearly, and addresses issues calmly is viewed as someone worth investing in. Her presence feels safe, compelling, and magnetic because it isn't tied to constant unpredictability or unnecessary conflict. Another key aspect of avoiding drama is not engaging in gossip, jealousy, or comparison. Energy that is spent on resentment, insecurity, or attempting to control someone else's feelings is energy that diminishes your own. Instead, when a woman focuses on her own growth, her own emotional health, and her own goals, she radiates a calm confidence that is irresistible. Men, like anyone, are drawn to people whose energy uplifts and inspires rather than drains or stresses. By keeping your emotional space clear and positive, you reinforce your own value and create a dynamic in which admiration, respect, and attraction can thrive naturally. Avoiding drama also reinforces your boundaries and self-respect. It sends a subtle but powerful message. You will not allow chaos to dictate your self-worth or dictate how others treat you. This kind of discipline, when combined with warmth and authenticity, is magnetic. It allows a man to feel safe, respected, and admired, while also preserving the mystery and excitement that sustains attraction. Drama, on the other hand, often signals neediness or instability, which can trigger insecurity or frustration in the other person. Ultimately, avoiding drama is not about suppressing emotion or pretending to be perfect. It's about choosing to express yourself in ways that reflect strength, clarity, and confidence. It's about creating a space where connection, attraction, and respect can grow without unnecessary tension. Every time you respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, every time you maintain composure in emotionally charged situations, every time you prioritize your own inner peace over unnecessary conflict, you are elevating your presence and reinforcing your value. Men are drawn to energy that feels secure, steady, and grounded, and by avoiding drama, you cultivate precisely that energy, making yourself not just desirable, but unforgettable. Let's now focus on something that is fundamental to maintaining your value in any relationship: investing in yourself. This concept goes far beyond appearances or superficial achievements. Investing in yourself is about nurturing your mind, body, and spirit in ways that enhance your sense of worth, confidence, and presence. It is about showing up as someone who is constantly growing, evolving, and becoming the best version of herself, not for anyone else, but for yourself first. When a woman invests in herself, she sends a clear, unspoken message to the world, and to men: I am worth your time and attention because I value myself. Conversely, neglecting personal growth, self-care, or your passions can slowly erode your value, no matter how attractive you may seem on the surface. Investing in yourself begins with prioritizing your own goals and dreams. A woman who has ambitions, whether professional, creative, or personal, exudes energy and purpose. She is not waiting for someone else to define her life or make her feel complete. She is actively creating her own path. This type of energy is magnetic because it signals independence, strength, and direction. Men are instinctively drawn to women who are on a journey of growth and fulfillment because they are engaging with someone who has depth, focus, and self-respect. On the other hand, if you are stagnant, constantly dependent on validation, or lack a vision for your own life, it can subtly communicate that your worth is contingent on someone else's presence, which diminishes your overall appeal. Self-care is another critical component of investing in yourself. This isn't about vanity or superficial beauty routines, although taking care of your appearance does contribute to self-confidence. True self-care encompasses physical, emotional, and mental well-being. It's about maintaining your health, setting aside time for rest, nurturing your emotional resilience, and pursuing activities that feed your soul. A woman who prioritizes her well-being demonstrates that she values herself, and that energy is palpable. It naturally attracts respect and admiration because people sense when someone is aligned with their own worth. Neglecting self-care, on the other hand, can unconsciously signal that you do not prioritize yourself, which makes it harder for others to see the full measure of your value. Investing in yourself also means expanding your knowledge, skills, and experiences. This could be through reading, learning new skills, traveling, or exploring your passions. Every time you challenge yourself, push your boundaries, or step outside of your comfort zone, you are adding layers to your identity. Men are drawn to women with depth, curiosity, and a rich inner life because it creates a dynamic, stimulating, and inspiring connection. A woman who stops growing or who neglects her personal development risks becoming stagnant, which diminishes the sense of excitement and admiration in a relationship. Finally, investing in yourself reinforces self-respect and boundaries. When you consistently prioritize your growth, happiness, and values, you naturally create standards for how you are treated. You signal that your time, energy, and attention are valuable, and that anyone who wants to be in your life must meet you on that level. This doesn't mean being rigid or unapproachable. It means cultivating a life so rich, so compelling, and so aligned with your worth that others are inspired to meet you with respect, admiration, and authenticity. Every action you take to invest in yourself builds confidence, reinforces your identity, and elevates the way others perceive you. When a woman invests in herself, she becomes more than just attractive. She becomes magnetic, grounded, and unforgettable. She creates a life that not only fulfills her own dreams, but also naturally draws people toward her who can match her energy and respect her presence. This is not just about maintaining value, it is about amplifying it, creating a life that others admire, and ensuring that the love, attention, and connection she receives is aligned with the incredible woman she has become. At the end of the day, your value is not something anyone can give you. It's something you own, protect, and project every single day. It lives in the way you respect yourself, in the independence you cultivate, in the confidence you carry, in the consistency of your actions, in the calmness of your energy, and in the investment you make in your own growth. When you honor these principles, you don't just attract the right kind of attention, you command it naturally. Remember, it's not about changing who you are for someone else or trying to fit into a mold of what you think a man wants. It's about becoming so aligned with your own worth that anyone who comes into your life must rise to meet you, rather than diminish your shine. Value isn't negotiable, and when you embrace these truths, you create relationships rooted in respect, admiration, and genuine desire. So, go forward with intention. Protect your boundaries, nurture your growth, stay steady in your energy, and never compromise your standards. Because the woman who understands her value is unstoppable, magnetic, and unforgettable. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the energy that transforms not just relationships, but every area of your life. Takyo you.